Okay, we are back with the leftover black and white clay mixture, and we are going to go ahead and just turn that into kind of either a swirl, more of a swirl, or a little bit more of a gray color. So I'm pressing that together, I'm working that together, and I think we might even just do this kind of marble color here. I think I'm okay with that. We're going to make another cat here. Again, like I said, this is not what I envisioned myself doing, but it turns out that a couple people have interest in seeing the cat designs play out. So, who am I to tell them no cats on the channel? But I will tell them no living cats on the channel. So this cat will be deceased. Which again, that just means I'm putting X's through the eyes. It does not mean I'm actually killing a cat, folks. Stay calm, stay calm. We're just putting little X's through the eyes. By the way, welcome to the channel and welcome back. Hands are pretty good today. I don't want to get too much into that. Long-time viewers of the channel will know I have long battle with my hands. Constantly bleeding from making the rats, so if you know, you know. Okay. I got a little shape, a little kind of marble shape here. A bit of a marble coloring. And we are going for kind of a pancake shape for the face, kind of one of those classic kind of cat pancake shape faces. And basically I'm just working the clay to fill the gaps. I think it actually looks better this way. What I'll do here is I'll put, I'm going to need a little bit of extra clay on the bottom here in order to form the mouth. Because we don't naturally have that much space. 99% of a cat, I believe, is made up of just an obscene amount of fur. So what I'm doing here is just kind of adding the rest of the base of the face so that I can build a scowl on this face, which I'm gonna do right here. So I'm building the scowl. Every cat, obviously, very angry creatures, so they do mostly always have a scowl. You can go ahead and flatten your scowl out before you get to your next part here. And we'll flatten this out. And you want to kind of keep it lined up pretty good here. You don't want to go too crazy. Okay. I'm sure you can see where we're getting at here. And then obviously they have the little weird bizarre thing in the middle. We'll push that down. And then you kind of want to blend little weird things that they have. Kind of see what's going on here. You can kind of carve out the shape you need to fit the individual animal that you're trying to fit. So I'm just kind of softening the edges here, but you do see there's a little bit too much going on there. Blow that out right there, no problem. Take that extra, hollow that out, and just drop that right there to cover up any anomalies in your foil that you may be dealing with at this point. And just kind of carefully work that shape. Make that shape what you need it to be. And again, just kind of take that extra clay and push it down. You do not need all that clay in that spot there. And what I'm doing now is just kind of rounding it out, and then we'll just form that up. There's a little spot there I'm concerned about. You can open the mouth a little bit if you have to. You see we're kind of forming that classic cat scowl, very angry creatures, very constantly with a scowl on the face. And I'm seeing a little bit of a space that needs a little more coverage, so you can work your coverage in. Get that to where you need it. Rolling that in to blend. Okay, close that mouth back up. You're going to want to close it. Very specific points on the cat. Okay. I'm going to add a little smidge of the nose here. We'll go ahead and blend that. Very careful here. And I might even leave it kind of like that. I want to shape it up because there's kind of I'm seeing a shape here forming. Get that, angle that down. And then we will place the eyes. One eye going right here. One eye going right here. These are deep eyes, deep set eyes. And that is okay, that's what we're looking for. And we will have 2 ears. I want to make make sure that cat's nice and even on both sides, however. So on this side, I'm noticing its mouth is not closed the way I want. So I'm going to go back calmly, very carefully. Kind of match that up. So this, I'm seeing this eye might be a little bit higher. There we go, much better. Go ahead and get your ear. Place your ear. That's a little bit smaller of an ear than I normally would use, but I don't think I want to give this one super crazy size ears. Because I am out of this color. So I'm going to go kind of light on the ears on this one. Okay, just carefully kind of shaping that ear, same as you would for a rat. Obviously you can use a little bit less caution here, but you still want to have a pretty good ear at the end of the day. You don't want to go totally off the rails just because it is, you know, a cat. So what I like to do is just kind of work the ear in, and I like to pretend I'm working on anything but a cat. Folks, if you have an animal, namely a cat or a rat, that you would like portrayed, you can reach out, but just please, if it is a cat, please be aware of my policy. I cannot make any living cat creatures due to what they've done over the years to my brother. But if you're okay with your cat being portrayed as deceased, you can reach out. Of course, that's my dog stomping around out there. Okay, so this one here is almost done. I do need to make the eyes very quickly and the whisker slots. I mentioned in the last video that one of my dogs is very rat-like. As you can hear the way he's creeping around out there. He's absurdly rat-like. He looks like a rat, he acts like a rat. And also, as I mentioned in the previous video, that's precisely why I picked him out of the bunch. He was the most rat-like of the bunch. This eye is not rounded enough, and that is okay. It's not a big issue to fix. Folks, that is not an audio edit. That is really what my dog sounds like. Clicking around out there like a little rat. So I will have to check on him. But before I do that, I just want to finish this bad boy up. And so I'll give it 2 whiskers. each side. We will get this into the oven, and then we will come back and finish that up. One thing I forgot to do here was insert the fangs. So I went to my bag of fangs. Got two fangs that matched pretty well. You find the front of the fang, you want the part that's kind of hanging out, hanging forward. Kind of find the same location on both sides of the mouth here. And what you want to do is just place those fangs run into a little bit of a, there we go. A little bit of an issue with that fang. I don't think I made the lip fat enough originally, so I just had to do a light little replacement on a little rebuild on that. That is quite alright. And I think this one is now up a little bit. Okay, so there you go. That is this cat, and we will come back when this is out of the oven. Okay, we are back with this cat right here out of the oven, and we're just going to go ahead and get the slight small detail work done that I usually do, and then we'll go ahead and let that dry and come back for the whiskers. Very careful with your wet ink. This is another stage that's very easy to screw up because you accidentally forget you're dealing with wet ink, wet paint. You grab that paint and you've now destroyed your creation. Okay, and I'm thinking about making this cat, giving this cat some pink ears and a pink little nose just to switch it up a little bit. I'm not going to go too crazy, give a little dab will do it. And then we will have a light dab on the ear, and another light dab on the other ear. And I think that one's a little more on the underside, so what I'll do is just, doesn't have to be perfect, just enough to give the effect. And then we will obviously do the teeth with a hit of blood color. It's imperative we keep the depictions of the cats very realistic, so I do always add the blood. Okay, so this one's good for now, and I'll come back with the whiskers. Okay, so we got this little gray cat here, finished up, waiting for whisker placement. We are dried. So the rats get 6 whiskers, most of the cats just get 2 whiskers. They do have 2 whiskers per side, total of 4 whiskers. They do have a smaller nose section, so it is harder to make all the space for the placement. So, and as you can tell, I'm running low on whiskers, so I will be doing a full day of just whisker cutting one of these days coming up. And that is one of the things that is taxing about this job, is you spend an insane amount of time just trimming whiskers, cutting whiskers, things like that. That most people probably wouldn't think are that big of a deal until you're, you know, like most people would say, oh, I'd kill to just sit around and cut whiskers all day. Well, you have no idea until you do it. It's very tedious. Of course, I cut the whiskers to any size I like, and then I come back and resize them, which is helpful. That is something, I don't know if everyone who does this whisker cutting does that, but for me it has been very helpful to just work on the whiskers and then we'll worry about the size later kind of deal. Via trim, rather overcut the whiskers and then trim them down. Comment below how you cut your whiskers. Okay, and this is a very, I'm not liking this at all. This nose is very shallow nose here, very shallow nose, so you're going to get all your glue. You need to get all your glue at the very tip of your whisker on this one. Not a fan of this. I think I made these a little bit too shallow, but much like the cat's personality traits, the whiskers will be a little bit shallow, the whisker depth. Cats are very shallow creatures, very worldly creatures, nothing like dogs and rats. Oh, okay, and that's where you run into your issues there. See, this isn't sitting correctly at all. So I'll tell you what, let me just get these ones in first. See if this side's any better. And I can assure you right off the bat, this side is not much better. So we're just gonna kind of hold that and see if it'll kind of. It seems like it wants to dry in place, but okay, no, I was wrong. It does not even want to hold in place at all. So you know what? This whisker's going in the garbage pile. We're not going to play around with this. We're not going to fight whiskers all day today. So get decent glob of glue on that whisker. And a lot of people know exactly how I feel when you're spending your whole day just trying to work on your whisker placement, and you know, your whole night just chopping whiskers. It's really tiring. You get really fed up. I just lost a good whisker there. Just threw a good whisker out. Okay, so we're gonna just let that chill for a second. You do not want to let it. The thing that's going on here is I do not want to let this whisker. There we go. That's better than leaning down, I guess. This cat sits a very specific way. Each cat has its own seating position. And this one sits in a way that the whisker will be pressing against the ground, so that is. So this side actually worked out like almost perfectly, and this side is a little bit off, but I think we can live with it. I don't think it's horrible. I do think it needs to be trimmed, but I think tell you what, we'll just go for it. Okay. Okay, and there you go. That's your cat. We're going to let these whiskers dry in place for 24 hours. Side, side, front, and I'll go ahead and put a few pictures up if you're interested in this cat. Go ahead and check the link, and thank you for watching this video.